Hello guys, I just took part in the North American Professional Championships. This was the highest level, highest prize money tournament that I've played in as a professional. Very, very thankful that I had a chance to play in this one. This occurred the last 3 days, April 3rd to April 5th, in the National Gold Center in Washington, D.C. So, I'm going to take a moment, a short summary to summarize the results and how I did, and then I will take a look, a review of my games in this tournament in sequence. So, how did I do? How did we do? How did the tournament go? Tournament went off spectacularly successful. Everything went smooth. Here is the final standings, and they did tie breaks, SOS, SOS, things like that. Bill came in first, Ryan second, Alex third, me fourth, Yoon Yang fifth, and Henry sixth. No, they tied for fifth, and everyone won at least 2 games, which was very, very nice. So it was very, very evenly matched, and Bill took first. We took, by tie breaks, fourth after going 2 and 3. Here is the news article from the American E-Journal about this. Here we can see the prize money and some other information. Here's a group photo. I am right here. And great. So the tournament went great. How did we do? As we said, we went 2 and 3. Going 2 and 3 is our worst finish win percentage-wise in a North American tournament. Usually there's an open division. We go significantly above 50-50. So in this respect, it's a failure. But because they went for tie breaks and they went to look at head-to-head records first, I was very close to actually placing very, very high. Namely, I played Bill in the first game of the tournament, and I lost that game by half a point. If I won that game by half a point, because I beat Ryan as well, I would have had the head-to-head record against both of them, and then I would have actually placed first. So I was actually 1 point away from placing first, despite going 2 and 3 and having the worst win-loss record. So from that perspective, 1 point away from winning it all seems pretty good. So it's a whole spectrum of how we can interpret my results. And so let's take a look at some of these games. We're going to take a look in sequence. And needless to say, lots of regrets. But I do feel like I played pretty well in terms of I had a chance to win every one of these games, and at some point in these games, late in the game, I still had significant leads. So let's take a look at the game 1, the half-point loss to Bill, the eventual champion at the time. Okay. I was playing black this game. Very normal openings. I decided, felt like recently I've practiced the game a lot more than Bill has, so I decided to go very, very solid in the opening. In hindsight, whenever I do try to play solidly, it has never yielded good results, so something I could change in this regard. Alright, Bill played very well pincering here, and then we started the attack by invading. And this counter pincer is very, very good. A very, very good, valuable move. And the game is very, very even right now. This extend is threatening to connect underneath. I blocked it. This was very offensive. It was the first time I went on the attack. That's probably, in hindsight, not a great idea, but it's not bad to go on the attack. Okay, So the attack escalates into this. In hindsight, probably should block here and then give up on the attack, let white have a Sente and run out. In the game, I decided this, and I was very close to being able to capture this group. This was very, very complicated, but it did feel like we were forcing this a little too much. The normal continuation continues something like this. We were going to Atari and then jump out. By the way, I am at the airport in New York. I am flying out to the Innova Cup in China along with Alexander Chi. That's going to happen in a few days from now. Unfortunately, that will just be likely one game. It's a single elimination. But anyways, that's good. So back to this game. This would be the way to try to capture white, but white has a lot of liberties, and black has two groups here. And even if we do succeed in capturing white, it's a lot of trouble. Here AI has white by 4 points, although it's very difficult to play on both sides. As you guys can see, a move such as this one is Sente to make an eye, and a move like this and this, playing something like this would be a good way for white to survive by keeping black not alive. So white has some living resources, and for black to really try to capture white, and because black needed to exchange this Atari, if black doesn't, Atari, black has to jump and then extend. It's once again not very. It's very complicated. So in the game, I didn't go for this, but having set up a very strong attack and then chickening out of the attack was not a success. And so white has a slightly good position now by 4 points. Note how going for the kill and then going for the chicken out is about the same. Neither were very good options. However, still totally manageable. The key thing right now for black to remember is to give up on the offense against white, play something that's very good for defense. So jumping out and moving away from this position very quickly is a good idea. I do regret this. So in the game, we played a very reasonable extension. I'm sure most of us would have chosen this. But what happened later was, upon engaging in a cutting complicated fight on the left, the right-hand side having one step a little bit slow made it very troublesome for black to take care of the group. So in the game, after white leaves a lot of Aji on the left, and when white continues to attack this middle group, black decided to tanuki this and make this big exchange. Of course, in hindsight, black should look for something that is that is saving this group, but because white has this method of getting 3 liberties, it's very difficult for black to, one, capturing is not that big already, and 2, white has all these Sentes on the outside. This is very unsatisfactory for black. This is very bad, actually. So in the game, basically we had to play 2 moves in order to get the value on the left. And as a result, white was able to secure a capture of a very large, significant group on the bottom. So this was a very disastrous opening battle in this game. During the game, though, I was not that worried. I was, as I said, feeling pretty confident coming into the game, and so right now it's about 13 points down for black. Starts by engaging to find some Aji here. We connected in Sente, then we Atari'd. This, I think we made a little bit of progress in terms of reducing white's shore territory, but this allows white to form a secondary attack. It's not easy for either side to. It's easy for white as long as white keeps in mind the defensive purposes as well as the attack. So in the game, white surrounds the territory on the bottom and secures the capture. And black plays this jump. I did expect a very solid build to play this move, and then either black pushes out here, and white still keeps a significant lead, or yeah, I definitely expected this. In the game, Bill continues the attack by playing this knight's move. This was unexpected and hard to say either way. So white still has a significant lead. It is a little bit complicated. When I attached to destroy the bottom territory, white pushed down. Next few moves, we did gain some Aji, and then next we played this Hane to save the original Tanuki points. I think here black played relatively well, and now it is up to white to find some good attacks. In the game, white went for the capture on the second group in the middle, and that was fine, but this is a little risky, and black did secure a lot of territory before having connected on the right. Black has not lost anything since going very much down in the early game. So now black plays here, white, the next move is here to cut white. So white turns, plays this move in exchange. This gives black a chance to save these 6 stones. And now the game is a little bit complicated now. And after this, white's lead is further cut into, and now after connecting here, white needs to do some punishment one more time. In the game, white pushes, tries to capture the bottom, which is okay. Black faces Hane, and then black plays another move here, which I do regret a bit, and we will see what happens later. So black is able to find the 3-3 relatively large points move, and this also threatens to save the black group, and of course the white group is also not totally alive. So this was I felt very good about finally finding some play, and having a lot of Aji inside the white's sphere of influence. This was very good by black, and white in the game played the strongest moves possible. So this was Bill definitely didn't play passively after taking a lead. Both of us knew capturing the bottom was a big lead. From that knight's move out on q6 and this throw in for the ko, both moves were very, very active moves. So I think that was a good strategy, and yeah, I think that was a very good strategy. So the thing with throwing in is black only needs one ko threat. In the game, I didn't have a ko threat, but this g4 would have been a ko threat, would have worked very well here. So of course, I would have liked to capture once, and then when white finds the second Atari as a ko threat, then connect. This would be very, very good for black. This would be 10 points up for black. That would be really ideal. Unfortunately, I already exchanged this Hane, so I lost that one ko threat I may have had. Really can't find any other ko threats, so had to let these 2 stones go and connect. This ko was extremely big, and white capture is also extremely big. We connect here, so extremely big. Now we have saved all the black stones, minus maybe these 7 stones here still in limbo, but we have a counter attack against the white stones, the white stone group. And white's lead is further lower now, so we did very, very well once we got into a very deep hole. In hindsight, maybe the move was to cut first. I'm not sure what the best move here was. Maybe capturing this or playing on the outside. All these were very interesting, very good moves. Maybe Atari here. But anyways, now the game is almost totally even. And here we're going to see Bill continue to play very actively. Alright, so when we Atari'd, white connects, and we captured once, and then we played this move to connect back. So this was a little bit of a failure of attack by black. In hindsight, after reaching some level of strength here, continuing to develop on the right, or playing something as strong as this, or capturing here the 4 stones would have been interesting moves. Maybe Atari. It's very difficult to play in these middle game moves. In the game, white is able to secure the group, and we played Q2 in Gote, which we do regret a little bit. So having successfully defended this group, white again goes into a bit of a lead. And I did feel this way at the time as well. Although part of this white lead is in this left-hand side, there's a lot of RG in the game, and then on the top left, there's a lot of RG as well. So this really shows capturing those 2 stones early on was extremely valuable. So in the game, I think white played a little bit. White went for the development on the top. This did allow black to go for this attack against the white group again. Forced white to play a dame move here, and captured white blocks. This is to defend the wedging cut, the wedging double cut. So after this, the game is very even again. So it's very close. And so now we have now completed our comeback. Black actually has a small lead now, 2.5 points. However, having fought back so hard during the middle of the middle game, it was very difficult for me to not feel good about this game. I did feel like I gained significantly in the middle game. Didn't know how far behind I was early in the game, so right now I played very defensively and conservatively with this move. This was very slow, and in hindsight, should have played the corner, should have played this, should have continued to attack white in the center. All these would have been very nice active moves. I played a very passive move. This was a very regrettable move. So after this move, white again has a lead. However, white didn't play the best moves on the left-hand side. Probably something like this was able to be had. In this variation, black gets a little more territory than the game, but white is able to capture 3 stones for 3-4 points. Okay, so after playing these moves, white 1 or 2 points. So now black has the first time a significant lead in the game, 4.5. So at this point, it was when black had the most amount of lead. I did feel good at this point. I was ahead by 6, but this game is very uncertain. For one thing, there are still RG on the top left, and for another thing, there's this cut in the middle to capture some stones. And to further the problem, there's this top hand side, there's black is missing a move there. So a lot of different good moves. And on the top, didn't know to connect back or to play the extend in. This would also work. It's very hard to judge. This way, white gets more thickness but less territory. Yeah, in fact, following through with this was actually not good. It's very interesting. Yeah, it's hard to really know where to play here. Anyways, so here we went for the damage, threat against this cut, and we played another peep, then we connected. This move strengthens the cut. Okay, next we played here. Now we've given up some lead already. Again, it's very difficult to play in this position, but we did go back to the main middle of the board. We were expecting this variation. So next we are able to cut in Sente. white would have to parry some capture, and if we move into the center, we can get some counterattack against white. So we were expecting this, so when Bill played a very good move with this move, we were caught surprised, and in the game we played conservatively. It was a very unfortunately choice for us. We did feel good, but we were right, but we played a slow move and another conservative move here. Right here, the best move is to push through and counterattack against white. This is forced, and the next white can basically capture our 5 stones, but the gain on the left-hand side and the Aji it destroys more than makes up for the loss, and black maintains a slight lead in this position. Again, very close. In the game, we allowed white to have one more sente here, and this very unfortunate that this move turned out to, before we played at Q2, we didn't play at P2, and if we play an endgame now, there is this Ko-Aji that is cutting and capturing the middle black group. So it's very difficult for us to play both very actively and to not just connect here, suffer a little bit of a loss. Now you can see how white is making a lot of middle of the board territory. Okay, so we played 2 moves and then we did play there. However, at this point, we were still very optimistic. However, there was one thing we overlooked. Remember when we played E14, we were counting points. We counted a lot of black points. We didn't think after protecting conservatively at E14 that the top left is going to have any more problems afterwards. Just never considered it. The factor is that's going to be game deciding. We'll see what happens. So this move, and in the game, this happened and ended up. It's very complicated, but going for the capture would have been very uncertain and likely good for white. It was just a little bit too much Aji, despite playing E14 here. If we had known, of course, E14 playing out more, like at G15, this would have made this much more better. And look how many white points. There's 4 points in the corner, plus the E19, F19, G18, all these territories. In hindsight, just playing these moves without that wedge would have been a few points better. And that's because the endgame would look like this. Here, and it would look like this, basically. Black would be able to get 2 points in Sente and destroy the white territory. Watch this, and we'll see how the endgame unfolded. And so here, we went to destroy the middle. The game is still razor's edge. Of course, because we messed it up, and we felt very good about the game beforehand, but having messed this up, we were very we knew the game was at least very close. Bill was very optimistic at this point, having had a big success on the top left. So it was we had a very good chance to gain a little in the end game. Unfortunately, we played one more mistake with a Hane. And this allowed white to cut, and at the end here, this was a very forced sequence by black, and white actually jumps into a lead again. Here the move had to be extend, and we keep going into the end game. So in the game, here was where, having been very forced, we created lots of cutting points against ourselves, and having to connect back in Dame at P14. This really cemented white's lead going into the endgame. Here white has a 2.3 point lead in the endgame. Very unfortunate, one more attempt, and now this was a 1.5 point lead for white, which is actually 2.5 in AGA rules. Now remember this endgame and the endgame before, where black has 2 points and white has just this 2 points at f18. In this game, in the current match, we were unable to reach that point, and at the end here, we had to settle for this endgame here. And here, after this, black makes no points, white still makes 2 points, plus a half a point. We already got 3 stones captured, so this endgame was maybe 4 points. That was worse, just having had that c17 squeeze. Both of us could have played very differently in the endgame, but remember that, yeah, so it's very, very unfortunate. So white has a 1 point lead with 6.5 points Komi, so white has an insurmountable lead to this point. In the end of the game, yes, we could have connected here in Sente for 1 more point, but in the AGA rules it didn't matter. So in the end we couldn't win that ko, and the end result was white by half a point. Very, 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 very fortunate. But played really, really well fighting back. But after we fought back, we misjudged the top left Aji, which made us think that we were significantly ahead, much more than the 5-6 points we were up by at most. And also that made us play slightly too defensively, and a few more inaccurate endgame plays, including these moves in the middle, including the c17, and our loss was unavoidable at that point. And half a point, very unfortunate, and first game of the tournament, so felt really, really bad about ourselves. But from the game itself, being able to battle back is always good. And, yeah, so this one ended half a point to our defeat. So in the afternoon of the first day, we played the highest ranking opponent in the tournament. This is Yoon Kim. She is an 8P. And before we played, the opening was relatively even. Before we met her at this tournament, I thought she was a 2-dan professional, so it was a surprise to see 8-dan, 8P, and did not have a great feeling going into this. 8P is not a joke. 8P from Korea. Okay. So despite this, we were we felt really good on the afternoon for some reason. In the morning, okay, so this very normal opening. Next, white plays here. Very normal, strengthens the 1 stone, strengthens the left. I think this is what this position is what Yoon and Henry and Ryan, they all really prefer. They like to play pretty solid. Ryan likes to play solid against me. Maybe he's a little more aggressive with others. But this having very nice, solid, 25 points of territory is very, very nice. Very, very hard to resist. And also white doesn't have any short territories, and it's not even that strong. So despite the AI saying it's still very okay for white, but black still has a very, very good position so far. In the game, finished the Joseki on the top left. We finished playing d14. We were very, very aware that despite being down on territory in the opening, we were also weaker than the black shapes. So we were weaker on both fronts. The two most important aspects were values go. So it's not an easy game to play at this point at all, despite being okay or even in the AI's score. It's a very, very uneasy game. However, I do like to play with a lot of uncertainty on the board, so this kind of thing do lead to some creative plays and very interesting fights. So we did play the style we wanted. Yang got the style she wanted for sure. In the game, we responded here. We had played a lot of games online, and we know that this jump is the proper answer to in most cases when the opponent peeps. So we pulled that out today. On the lower left, we have a mirrored Joseki to the top left. And now we have reached another position. Yunyan's shapes are all very, very rapidly solidifying. Our shape on the left is holding for now. We have lots of potential. And now a big move is S3. Another big move is pressing one more time. Another big one is jumping into the middle, capturing this one stone. Very difficult to decide what to do. So in this kind of a position, we decided to ask black and to start pressuring black to very, very good effects. The following fight happened this way. We jumped and then played here. Now this is a good local shape. It is a valid local Joseki, but in this case, because this shoulder hit diagonal move is 2 spaces away from our 6 group, it's relatively efficient, and we were pretty happy being able to get this shape. Of course, we're taking away black's territory at the same time. This negates a need to play S3 to create territory and thickness for our corner group. So after having this, we were quite happy. Yunyang played the Hane and then a self-strengthening move with this attach. Here, we played the Satari. So in order to threaten white's corner more, black will have to connect, and this gives white a chance to play here. The Hane is very good, very big for the territory. So it's black doesn't want to connect, and if black doesn't connect, there's no way to threaten the corner, and then capturing at S14 would be a very big move, and it would have been a pleasure to play. So in the game, it was reasonable, even though it totally understand why black played for the ko, but the ko was favorable for white. For one thing, white has more ko threats. For another, being able to capture at T13. Remember, we were capturing at S14, 1 stone. Now with one move, we're able to capture 2 stones and play the next move. So it's pretty big. However, we did have to suffer on the left a little bit. It was going to be fine if we just accepted that black was going to get a significant amount of compensation. However, we were not. We were thinking this was better. If we knew all we could do was connect, we would have, of course, responded to the ko and then kept fighting on the bottom. We could even play a fancy peep. We didn't know, we misjudged the severity of black's moves on the left. Because we were expecting to be able to block in center. We expected black to move somewhere else. This would have been very happy for white by 10. But when black pushed, this is a ladder right now, so we had to play the Keji Alpha Go Joseki moves, these moves, and lose a lot in the exchange. This allowed black to play all these forcing moves on the outside, and after this local result was very good for black. Black is slightly up in the game. It's basically even, mostly because the ko was very good for white, so definitely lost out on this variation. We had nothing really good to do. Probably had to Tanuki, but Tanuki is huge because we were not able to force black to capture the inside. So in hindsight, of course, would have played better, but in hindsight, everyone would play better. Anyway, so a very even game. We played this move, which was very attractive, very big, and the game is still very even. And now white is the one with very solid shapes, and black is the one with more territory, but at least for once in the game, white has the thickness advantage. So black proceeds to fix the group, which is totally reasonable. Here, this move was fine. This move was actually a fine move. I did not respond. I took the opportunity to Tanuki play on the bottom, play 2 moves on the bottom to allow black to destroy white's territory and allow white a chance to destroy black's territory. I think this was a very good job by us. White is stronger, so white chooses mutual destruction. With white being stronger, any more fighting is going to favor white. I think this Hane is not as large as it seemed. So black probably needs to continue to strengthen the territory and make it. But yes, I understand white is getting stronger. It's hard to play for both sides. At this point, because this block is likely to be Sente now, the next moves are very, very big. Black now chooses to take the territory on the inside. And here, white goes on the attack. Splits black first. This also allows black to peek and counter-attack against white. Here is when the game is getting decided and where the exciting fireworks are happening. Both sides are weak. Both sides have a lot to play for. In the game, black cuts, which is the best move in this case. White plays here, black Ataris. Here was the game-deciding moment. The game is very close. Black actually has a lead, slight lead. Here, white went for the peep, which was a very risky attack first kind of move. I totally understand black's I totally understand every move, every decision black makes following this. The best move now is to capture this. And white has several ways to play. One is to capture one stone. One is to try to capture the right-hand side 4 stones. I was definitely going to capture the right-hand side 4 stones. Black may also choose to do something like this, but it's better to connect. I had no idea. It's better to connect. Both of us expected this to be much worse for black than it was. Black actually has a significant lead. Capturing is a very close game, but it's very hard for both sides to play. So in the game, black played the strength protecting the cutting point, and after extending Ascente as well, white has gained enough strength in the middle to connect and have a favorable fight in the middle. Now, I totally understand why Yunyang decided to save the 4 stones. Of course, because remember, black played 2 moves that got ignored. 2 moves, Q9 and R8. You can't let moves that your opponent ignored be dead, because those 2 moves would be totally wasted and they would be negative values. So it's against every player's reasoning and intuition, and most of the time it's against the AI's recommendations to give this kind of situation up. So this giving up the right was never as a possibility on my end, probably not a possibility for Yunyang as well. Totally understand, but this would mean that black has placed herself in a very tough spot. Right now, a few choices by white. One is to play the defensive strengthening move. This is a slight lead for white. In the game, we picked the most aggressive knight's move here. Here, black is in a very tough spot, but Yunyang showed very, very strong fighting skills and dug herself out of the middle round. Very difficult to do. Almost impossible to survive. Here, Taris and white pushes. Even if you're able to keep white at 5 liberties, just the amount of Sentes on the outside is going to lead to a sure, certain capture of the black group on the right. This is a main problem. So, in the game, Yunyang finds this knight's move and then this attach, which is the only way that black can save the group here. However, the cost was white gets a Panuki here for thickness, and later white can still pick this push and Atari and still save the white stones. So white gains a little already, and white cannot lose anything. This would have been white's best result. Probably push here. The actual thing was white could have Haned and captured one of the 2 groups still. But in the game, something similar. White went for the extend. White could have also went for the hane, the idea being connect the sente and then extend and capture black. We went for this, which made it a little more complicated. The move now is to play this squeeze and capture black, but already this is very, it's a little flimsy. In the game, we played very stylish and scintillating. We Atari'd. Next to this Atari, gave up on this Ponuki. Can you believe it? Crazy. Gives up so much value just for a chance to play the cut. So in the game, an exchange is had. White saves the white stones, captures the black stones, but black is able to do a Ponuki and save some parts of the top stones and capture some white. So black didn't lose as much in this as expected. White still has a 7-point lead, but white had to do something like this, which is very, very complicated. Extend, so the cut doesn't work. And when black plays here, white is going to have more liberties than this black. Very complicated. So after black connects back the middle, white retains a significant lead. But it's very hard to play this way. In the game, white gives that up, captures, saves a few stones, captures a few stones, and strengthens the upper side connect. Black is not doing as bad as expected, but at the time during the game, I felt like we were doing really well, and both me and my opponent. So here, with only a 4.5 point of disadvantage, Yu Yang feels, you could say that 4.5 is enough. Probably can't win by playing regular endgame, but whatever the reason, Yu Yang goes for the most aggressive and aggressive options. Which can't blame. I totally understood and totally sympathize and feel. And I would have played probably the same moves on every black move after this 011. So very, very well fought. This ended up being a ko, which was basically a picnic ko for white, and couldn't find enough ko threats, and had to allow white to take this ko. We were able to Atari. Yeah, I think here white was able to barely survive. The thickest group on the board turned out to need to make 2 eyes at the end. And it was very finished off, very scintillating fashion. What we thought of was the game-ending moves, which is Atari, counter Atari, actually lost a lot of expected value. So very well played on both sides. But yeah, we did well, and this game we were behind only for a brief middle of the game stretch. Very happy, and this game made us feel very, very happy. Great, so here comes day 2 and game 3. So it's a morning game, and this tournament made us find that we don't do that well in morning games. Okay, we know Henry likes to play 2 3/4s and play this large knight move, so we decided to counter it by playing a symmetrical position. In hindsight, this is not much of a counter, and next time we would have just played a regular opening. Didn't work, still totally even. And we'll go into some of Henry's favorite Josekis. Played exactly the same scene before at another time, and here we chickened out of one move, which was good. Black needs to play there, and Atari, this is a complicated fight. Chickened out of it. Should have picked it. Ended up extending. Slight loss, but game is still very, very even. Played 2 moves. We played this move, which is in hindsight probably should have played on the right, or played something on the top or the left here. In the game we expanded the bottom, but it was a very good time for Henry to go for the on the opposite end. So Henry in the game does not play whatever we prepared for him, the regular Josekis. He plays the slightly worse local move, but much better global move, extend. And this was great. So this opening went to black. And after black extends, the normal move would have been here. And here we were going to, the normal move would have been Atari extend, would have played here. Black could have played this and Atari, but not being able to capture this one stone would have been almost game over for black. Oh no, slightly worse for black. Anyways, so after this we didn't see how we could attack black very effectively. In hindsight, it was just this diagonal move. Should have played it, but we expected black to jump. In that case, we have a pretty good knight's move. Or we could just capture the two stones. Probably capture. But Henry played this move, which felt heavy, but we didn't have any real good counter to it. Maybe this knight's move could have been played, but yeah, this definitely should have been played. In the game we played a regular move. Black was able to strengthen and reduce our bottom in Sente. This was very good for black. So black has a slight lead. Here we decided to go for a lot. Very bad in hindsight. Black's corner is very strong. We knew the difficulties of playing around very strong positions. The idea was to sacrifice two stones like this. Of course, this would have forced black to
what do other people
make territory upon thickness, which is very inefficient, and that was our ideal situation. Of course, Henry does not go for that, and Henry moves out. This just ended up being even better for black. Should have extended, but we went for the Hane. We were really aiming to do this. This cut would have made
be careful.
This two stone captured, so extending is Sente. The problem was extending really hurts the left, and still on the top we do not have that good of position. So we extended and we played this Atari instead. This was even worse than not playing the extension. Now this game is very favorable for black. We still had to Atari and allow black to play the very big f14. So this game went like game 1. Very unfortunate. We really have to be careful in the beginning of the middle game, first fight of the game. However, once we reach deeper into the middle game, this is where we reach our comfort zone and we start to play very high quality moves. Always happens after falling behind, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, in the game here, force black to connect back. We Atari here. We can attack the middle black move next. And here we go, we attack it next. Here, black still retains a significant lead, but it's very complicated. If black just defends, white can live on the left. There's also this middle, which is very big. In the game, Henry plays the most aggressive moves possible. Is here. In hindsight, we should play this, but maybe like this, and capture the middle in Sente. Capture the three stones in Sente and then live on the left. In the game, we didn't find anything too good. We just decided to let black continue to defend the center. This gives black a chance to retain a significant lead. Capturing three stones, definitely very good. I think the most aggressive capture here is not recommended. The recommended move is to Atari capture thick and small. In the game, black jumps, and now white is able to cut further into the black lead. Again, we're very comfortable in the middle stages of the game. This is probably our strongest part. Right now, when black plays this knight's move, white actually now is back. And we should capture these. I don't know why we didn't. In the game we played here, again, we felt like we made a lot of significant progress. We didn't know how bad we had it early in the game. So we played a solid move here, allowed black to play here. Terrible, terrible in hindsight. Terrible in hindsight. Okay, anyways, we played here. Big opportunity missed. However, we're not that far behind now. Black only has a 6-point lead. And here is where Black stepped wrong. Q10 allowed us to play on the outside of the outside, threaten the bottom, and also we're threatening this run out. So this honey move is strengthening this, protecting this run out. This move again threatens the ladder run out. So Black Atari, now Black decided to fix the ladder. This was a great opportunity for White. This is really when White, really significantly cements a lead in the game. Before it was just an opportunity, now it's a real lead. It's this. Here the push was again a bit of a miss. Henry didn't realize we were going to play here. Henry thought we were going to block and then survive, which is what the AI. Okay, so Henry plays here. We were able to play this. Now it's the first time that we were comfortable in the game. We tasted victory, and we answered here when Henry played here. This was a really good chance. We fought back, like 12, 13 points down, back, 7 points up. We really wanted to play this move, but in the game we played this move, thinking if Black connects, we'll play here next. We would be even further up now. This move was played a little bit defensively too. Remember back to the building game, the diagonal move. This move was designed to fix all the RG in the black corner. So, needless to say, something like these points would have been totally fine. And would have been very, very happy. No, we went for more. We went for the reverse Sente, and Black went for the RG. Now, the thing was, this was also Sente for Black. This was Sente, so this move was actually huge as well. If we played here, would have been a great reverse Sente too. In the next move, this extend is not possible. Black has to Atari and allow this to be surrounded too. It was huge move that we missed. Tried to play a Sente, but anyway, here we felt really good about our game, but this was when we relaxed. The game was tough, so we played very hard, but when we relaxed, especially in the morning games, tended to relax and lose our concentration. So it's very, very regrettable. Here we had to be careful. In fact, here, if we had B14, that would have really strengthened the right-hand side, and there would be nothing in the corner. But here, paradoxically, O19 doesn't actually help the corner as much as P14. Unfortunately, we had to be careful, play these moves. Black would not be able to make significant strides in the corner in this RG. However, here we thought Black, I don't know what we were thinking. We thought Black was going to play here, actually. Play this, allow us to capture, and then fix the left, either like this or like this. We were actually very happy doing this. Because we played this first line move in this corner, we had absolutely no inkling or anything that Black had any chance to survive in the corner. So when Black Atari'd, we were caught flat-footed. Black connected. This barely lives. If this O19 was at P19, we could play here and Black would still... this is probably still capturable.
I mean, dude, I'm pretty tired.
I went line too far. Everything just worked out slightly bad. Very unfortunate. Played this, we had to capture. And Black has a ko here. Henry thought the game was over. I thought the game was very big disadvantage to White. Look at the White actually retains that ever so slight edge at this point. In either case, we do go for the good moves. Right, the ko. Henry escalates the ko, then turns. We continue. Right here, and Atari's, and with it was yeah. It was very, very interesting, this code. So black was not doing as well as expected, and in fact white was actually doing much better than expected. After black played this push, the move was, in fact, Henry played this Atari. It saved black a lot of code threats in the form of this, and then here, and then the throw in, then these Ataris saved black a lot of code threats, but it left white with another left black another problem here. So here the move was for white to continue the code and play this Atari. Both players overlooked this one. So the move was can't connect because of this connect, and black would like to push through and capture everything for white, but this capture makes two eyes. White survives. So black really has to capture this and fight this code, because this push is now, this code gives white one more liberty, gives white a chance to connect these stones back in code, which is very big. And so white was supposed to do this, set up a double code, and just continue to fight and win one of the two codes. Black probably wants to capture this, and white retains all the lead, you know, all the AG is fixed. White loses some points on the left, but gains by playing O13, and gains points on the right, still retains its lead. And in fact here it was very interesting because suppose white wins the ko and black captures this ko. Actually, no, black could have played one more here in Sente. In fact, if the co-exchange was happened, the left was actually even bigger than the right, which was very surprising. But yeah, that would have been... so white actually, with this ko, still has a significant lead, and white hasn't lost anything. Right, so that was very, very interesting. In the game, white just connects. White never saw this d12. Now it's too late, you know. Now the d12 is just a simple code to survive. Before, white could have saved this p13 move, p in one move. So now the game is, I guess it's still quite even. Here, I guess it's just like this. Game is still quite even. Yeah. So anyways, in the game, white played this connect in another misread. I thought white could capture this.
What's your biggest strength?
I thought the game was almost over. Henry thought the game was almost over in his favor. It's very interesting. I noticed I couldn't do that because of this Atari and this Atari, then making two eyes. When I saw this, I almost threw up in my chair. In hindsight, this would have been another huge ko in the middle. And this was very, very complicated still. This ko also matters to the right, and the end game matters. Something like this. And then it depends on if black can capture the right. In this diagram, black cannot, so white was still doing well. Yeah, crazy. In the game, I chose another capturing continuation. However, had to play this push. And here, actually, the liberties was surprisingly short for white. And black now, black also makes one mistake. Henry played very well. Basically, didn't make any mistakes. This is the only mistake. Black needs to play here, and white has actually no way to extend one more liberty. In the game, Henry played the Sente move, thinking, of course, you can still play here. Why don't we do this? But this actually allows white to extend liberties with this variation. See how this one R10 stone helps out. So now I read this out. It said Henry needs to play here eventually. I was gonna throw in. White was going to win this liberty race by ko, for 1 liberty. It was going to connect. Atari's is here, and there's no coast threats. And by the slimmest margin, I saw that I was gonna win. Henry, yeah. So I was really happy at this point, thinking about how to say like after the game review, I was gonna say, Henry, you were really up a lot in the early game. I felt stuff, very good stuff. I didn't see the right hand side. Very nice game. Thinking about all this stuff. So when Henry played this Hane, I thought Henry was gonna give up and this was gonna be over. And so and this Hane, I'm like, oh, I have 4 liberties. I'm gonna play here. I was gonna play here. And, I was going to win by 1 liberty. It was gonna be great. And so I played this card. It's like ready for the resignation. Henry was ready for my resignation. Anyways, here this gave Henry the 1 opportunity to play this move. Extends 1 liberty for black, and if white extends the liberties as before, this was going to be very. I was really proud of myself, guys. This was going to be white up by 2 liberties. Black may have looked for this. Atari and this, but this is another double co situation, so it's basically impossible for black to win. White can just capture this. Black plays here, double co. When black connects, it's too many liberties. So I played this move. This was a 1Q mistake kind of move, and I made it. I had to play this, and we extend, and it was game over. I was extremely sad after fighting back so hard, messed up in 2 variations. Did not see 1 more, and at the end didn't choose the best variation, the co-capture against the group, and actually played it wrong to 1 liberty. Henry gave me a chance to win the game by 1 liberty. All I had to do was play this in the back. I could keep this in 1 liberty, still could Atari here. No problem. Very regrettable. So needless to say, after the first game, I was down in hell. After the second game, I was really happy, up in heaven. After the 3rd game, it was a roller coaster. Bad, great, and then 1 misstep in the end cost everything. Very unfortunate to make that mistake. So here, the afternoon game of day 4, I played Ryan. Ryan is the 1 player who I considered significantly stronger than the rest of the field. Michael Redmond reviewed this game as well. So I knew Ryan was very confident and he would be very solid when he played with me. Ryan played with Hane and then connect, and then played h4. I was, this is going how I expected this to go. I was surprised at this headbutt because white played this 3-space high extension. Also, this continued Hane connect. This emphasized the left-hand side Aji. Normal move was here, which emphasizes the top hand Aji. Both of these turned out to be actually totally equivalent. I was surprised and I learned a lot from this. So here, once again, like the Yun-Yang game, we have found a position where our opponent is very solid, very thick. We are not. So both thickness and territory we are down by. We do have many moves on the outside, which is potential, which is not worth a lot. So here, we deliberated, and we did finally go after with J4. Very risky move, and I just played the Henry move, and we got behind significantly after playing these attachment moves early in the game against a very strong corner. So Ryan is like the final boss, the devil, the nemesis, the big bad boss in our minds, nemesis. He beats us all the time. We haven't beaten Ryan in many years. And we just had a game with a very similar position, a very painful loss, and we did go down a lot in the beginning. So in both ways, we beat out the fears within us. We continued to play our game, so I was very, very happy to have played this. The risk of playing so close to the thickness is the opponent plays on the outside of the thickness, and so Ryan punishes this move the best way possible to totally tanuki. When you tanuki, there's no way the black move would be in between this white move and the thick corner. So after the tanuki, this is black's way of doing the most amount of punishment possible. Neither player is sure about the result. Of course, after we played here, black did play this. In hindsight, we would have played the 2-space. In the game, we wanted to be a little more solid and defend the 1 stone a little more towards the left. But in hindsight, right now we're weak enough everywhere on the top to warrant this kind of not defend anywhere super well, but defend one of the two. And so Ryan sets up the invasion by extending. Didn't play here, we decided to continue on the bottom. And here the scene was, black was able to play a bigger move outside of our move, but here the follow-up moves, we were able to successfully force black to play in between our move and the white moves. So black played less moves in the area, but white was able to get to the outside. So this was a very, very interesting sequence. Ryan is very clearly on top of the thickness principle, so clearly he was, the tanukis were very nice. Give him a peep, then Ryan goes for the invasion. Very, very good. White was actually doing quite well at this point, but our small knight's move earlier led us a little bit astray. We were close to the top, so we expected the top left to be relatively stronger. So here in this fight, we set out to strengthen the right hand side. However, this further back weakens the left hand side 2 stones. So now we have lost all of our advantage, and the 2 stones after this capping move is found to be attacked by Ryan. Here was where Ryan found his way back into the game. However, here we played a very good move. We extended. Here Ryan didn't want to play this move, which is slightly smaller. White can now, this was the AI move. White can now choose some sacrificing stones variations. And Black also didn't want to extend because now White would gains a little with this exchange. White might just play a little bit defensively and be fine. Maybe even get this extend before surviving. Depending on whether White survives or not, Black was not happy with this. So Ryan went for this move. This was not actually very bad. We were deliberating between blocking and playing here, but by now we noticed how weak the 2 stones were, so we were happy to be given a backdoor. However, because black destroys all of the white shapes, and also black was able to destroy most of the top hand side territory, and white still has cutting points. This was actually a fine result for black. Ryan felt very bad because Ryan expected to be attacking us and gaining significantly. So after we played this knight's move, it was very difficult for black to attack any of the white stones. There's a cut, but white's alive on the top, and the middle is very okay. And white is building some potential in the middle too. Here the best move is to just connect back, but this is not efficient. Of course, Ryan is neither. I wouldn't have played that move too.
That's even better.
Yeah, so Ryan goes for more. He is expecting likely this variation, and White was able to punish. This would have been relatively. This was probably also on Ryan's radar. It would have been fine, but in the game we took our opportunity, played this Atari Ko, and we were able to to gain a lot from this code. In fact, black did have some good code threats, better ones than here. In the game, black captured 3 stones, made this group alive, significant, but white is strong too, and white gained so much territory as a result. And here we were, so AI also wanted black earlier to play in the middle here, attach and something like that, or peep. So we were very happy to have had the intuition that the middle potential was very, very big. So this move was definitely not a top move, but it was a very good move. It was, you can see how much white's potential is being made now. The next move, we can capture a stone, we can continue to attack black. So very, very good game for white now, up by 8. Here, Ryan goes do or die, goes for the attack on the left. This is a knight's move. Normally, you know, try to connect back, try to jump. A knight's move in this case, we played strong, but here we regrettably chickened out of the most strong variation here. Strongest variation was this, and then extend, hope to capture left or the right. And it's very complicated, needless to say, but it was good for white. I always tell all my students, always try to play the best moves you think, and never play, always keep playing aggressively even when you think you are ahead. Never defend even a significant, you know, if you can win by 10, win by 10, don't win by 5. And this was unfortunate, and I did tell them, you're always gonna be tempted to play the defensive move. It's just very, very hard to do this, but make sure you do this. I did not, so, and after this, the lead is much smaller than before, only 5 points. And Ryan plays a big move at J3. We deliberated between Atari on the bottom and Atari on the third line. We did play the right move, but this was, you know, black catching up in territory. Here the move was here, but if we do play here, 1, not necessarily Sente, and 2, black does make a lot of territory as well as white. And at this time, you know, black is getting the thickness lead again. Another big move is to capture. Maybe we should have played the capture. But anyways, we played the aggressive move, so despite playing less aggressively earlier, regretting it, and then we regretted it, now we played the more aggressive move, which was also bad. And this middle thickness was in black's favor. Black played this move. It was a little bit difficult for white. In hindsight, this move probably would have been good. It's hard, really difficult to know exactly where to play. Maybe capture 1 stone, maybe capture this 1 stone, and just treating the right hand side lightly. It was this capture, just take as much territory as possible, but we just started attacking black. How could we not continue to Atari and attack? Now the same thing, but here white now actually still has a weakness with this peep and then this move. We were not confident at all in the middle after giving black a Tanuki. In hindsight, this is perfectly fine, but in the game we fixed our last weakness. But this allowed black the biggest move, and now the game is again razor's edge, close. And so we made some regrettable moves, and we continued to play in the middle. This was a very, very difficult position for both sides. Here, black's move is here to peep and push through. Very close game afterwards, but at this position, both of us were thinking jump, threaten the stones for white. A jump would not actually threaten it, so Brian was thinking extend. We were also thinking jump, extend. That would be not as ideal for black, obviously, as efficient. So given that, how could black not Atari? How could white not connect? This was the proudest move I played in the tournament. It was very difficult not to connect this stone. We did play the right move, which was very, very important. Played on the outside, fixed all of our weaknesses. When black captured, the key was the next the next move, Atari, would still be great, and black would still have to live in Gote. And so black really needs another move. And this other move was what was going to make white, give white a bit of an advantage. So now, black strengthens the 2 stones very big too, and white is able to both connect and play the outside move. Less weaknesses, but still the game is very, very close. And here Ryan had a tough game all game long, so of course it's reasonable for Ryan to go for the attack, continuing to go for the attack. I expected this. Connect Atari would be good for black. White was going to Atari and capture. This was a very even exchange, and so this was what that wouldn't have been good either, but very difficult. Ryan went for the ko, and this ko was because black was under huge attack. This ko did not have to be connected, and black had a lot of trouble finding the second eye. That was, when the moment counted, we played a good game, good move. Like Atari, we didn't connect. The most obvious connect. We strengthened our middle position, and that put enough territory pressure on black to get black to play a very bad ko, and the result was a very significant win. And black could have captured this, but white would have maybe even fixed like this.
I think that
would only capture this and let the other half live, or capture this and let this half live. Either way, white is up by significant amount of points. Of course, white would have played this move. White by 20 plus. 16. Never mind. Oh yes, we captured very conservatively. As we said, tell my students you're never going to be able to put this into practice. Just try to, because you'll automatically adjust to the conservative when you actually play your game. And I did too. The lead was actually down to about 10.5 at the end, but Ryan was not happy that he clawed back 10 points. Yeah, so my proudest game in the tournament. Very good to have the wherewithal to not connect and to play the Hane. Very happy the way I played this game, despite some of the misses and chickening out. So once again, I was very happy, and it was bad, good, bad, good. You know what's going to happen later. And the final game was, in hindsight, it was a result of fighting for either second place or fighting for a four-way tie at first place with playoffs likely. Played Alex. Alex is going with me to the Innova Cup in China soon. In fact, I'm at the airport now. He is probably also near the airport. Okay, so in the game, Alex had very, very good opening here. Next development potential was in this area, and so Alex preempts that by limiting us here at R14. It's a very good move here. Still in control, but here, despite, you see how white is setting up to contain us before this move was played. Very good opening by Alex. Black's move here needed to be strengthen this. I just allow white to run. Still a relatively close, normal, even game. But again, white having played very good Joseki's opening, had a very good position. We went for this a little too much, and when white played this headbutt, we played on the right. This was very, very interesting. Hindsight, probably this move was the move.
No, you're answering.
But of course, I knew white was not going to connect the 5 stones. So we played this move in preparation for this. This was a very complicated position. One thing to do was to extend, and then, white captures the left, black has a chance to capture a lot of right. It's very, very difficult to play here for both sides. Very, very complicated. there's another weakness here. So in the game, maybe this headbutt would have been a good move too. In the game, we played this knight's move. This was also quite good. Okay. And here the key was this move, and here this was very, very high quality. But here we were very happy, so we extended, we played this move, but we were already unhappy with white being able to play this move rather than the connect. In hindsight, of course, both of these were about the same. If white was forced to connect, we actually did have a lead. We did feel very good about this fight. But in the game, white captures, so it does two things at once. And we were gonna do this cut, but then white was gonna extend. And here, we were gonna actually be short by 1 liberty. How annoying. How annoying. So in hindsight, so after white was able to capture this, white is able to not play the fix, and white has a bit of a lead. Not so significant yet. I think the move is to jump out. Very complicated fight. This exchange was great for white. In the end game, this move is Sente, so white has no eyes here and everything. After this exchange, white has at least half of an eye, and later we'll find out white already makes an eye in Sente, so this was great for white. Black should have extended back probably. But how could you extend it back and accept such a big, easy, sure loss? So we continued here. Again, this was probably needed to be out. And here was when we got into trouble again. You guys see a pattern. In the beginning of the game, again, first fight of the game, got behind by about 10 points. Very unfortunate, but yeah. However, we have now reached the middle game, and a couple of slightly defensive plays by white. We're within 5 again, and let's see how bad it was.
If a company
9. Okay.
raises $100 million,
9.7. So yes, 10 points, and this was very, very. So it's like that pattern again. So now here, we're going to begin to fight our way up into the middle game, fighting our way back. White has a bit of a lead. This was very complicated. White was actually doing quite well in this fight. White connects on the top, and here white was able to finally secure this capture. This was very close. Could have played this, but we decided not to. This way we capture white. But white has, Senteis here against the corner and these middle. So here, we didn't go for the capture, but this was very nice. If we could get one more exchange, we would be ahead. But we can't get this exchange. Very, very nice. But neither of us played it. We went for this cut, and this fight now turned very, very complex. Here, we'll see how important it was to connect that. Now, when we cut, white can play this, so it was crazy. Crazy fight. We played here, so this black middle position was much less sick than before. And here on the bottom, white was able to secure a Sente eye with this Atari, so everything went perfect for white in this fight. Remember, if black had the middle, black would not have had to exchange this move, and then later black would have a chance to push out here and destroy the eye. That would have been the difference. It's great. So very good by white, but now white has like a 15-point lead now, but white makes a misstep in the middle, goes for this. Having lived, white thought, get black to play more moves in the middle. What could be the problem? I will capture more here. Now we actually have a lead, and but it's needless to say hugely complicated. This group could die, this group could die, this group could die. This right could die. This was our best opportunity. White played on the right, black needs to play here. White captures the right. We play the middle, we play this. Huge exchange. Huge exchange. White would be unable to survive on the left. And just barely, by the way, everything. This would be like each side has like 140 points. We would be ahead by 10. So given that we here was our last opportunity, instead we chose to lose more stones in the middle. Still has a chance to play here. This would be still very, very complicated. The move now is to Atari here now. Basically the same situation, except White has significantly more middle territory than the previous diagram. If we can surround everything, we would still win, but you know how it is. So when White captured, this was our last regret. We responded because we made a brave miscalculation. Here, we thought because Black had a Sente there no matter what, we thought White could be captured in this variation, but now White has this diagonal move back. Totally uncareful. If we knew this, we would have saved the Atari, and then we could still capture like this. That would still be okay. Totally fine. This just can't be saved. But you know, now this gives White a chance to play on the back here, and then survive like this on the bottom. And the key was to barely survive as White. You know, I actually don't know if White survives like this. White survives here somehow. I'm sure White survives. So that was crazy. That's why we needed to Atari 2. But given that we did both the response to the middle, losing this Atari, and we Atari'd here, giving White 1 stone, we now cannot capture those 2 white stones anymore. The last chance for complications was here, but even this was not likely to work. White was still going to win significantly. In the game, at the last moment, Alex did what we always tell our people to do. He never let up one little bit. He played the strongest moves, unlike what we did, chickening out. And in the end, we couldn't find anything in the corner. And so we lost by 17, 18 points. So it was a bad way to round out. Alex gets third, Ryan gets second, we get fourth. So we had a chance at very significant prize money, but you know, we had a good chance to win in every one of our games. Very good pattern in all of our losses, about 10 points behind after the early fight, fighting our way back, and then complicated middle game back and forth, and still losing. So relatively happy with our play-in level, although we're definitely not happy with the results. So I'm gonna catch my flight now. See you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Let me know. Leave a like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Let me know how you guys feel I played and how good these games are. See you guys.